you to the Curries Price Book and Order Writing session this afternoon. My name is Rose Cliff Olson, and we will be going through just a high-level view of the Curries Price Book, how the price book actually is laid out, and then we will walk through some of the forms that we have available for order writing and take a look at some of the codes that are out there that you use from time to time or on a regular base, but gives you just some information on how to use the codes, the layout of the acknowledgments, order writing, and packing slip. So before we get started, I also have Pat Wright, who is going to introduce himself, and he will be helping with monitoring the chat feature that we have. As you won't be able to ask a question, you'll have to use our chat feature. So with that said, I'll let Pat introduce himself.
Good morning. Thank you, Rose. I appreciate you taking the time to visit with us today. Actually, for me at least, it's in the afternoon, and I believe those of you in Texas, it's also afternoon for you there now, too. And while we're would have much preferred to see you face-to-face. Originally, our intent was to be in Houston, given this class at the DSS office location. Times have changed, and here we are doing a Zoom presentation. But again, thank you for taking the time to be with us this afternoon. And Rose is taking you through the Curries Price Book and order writing process. When we get to the order writing part of it, this is a pen and paper type application, kind of give you an idea how it's all pulled together. But we also have a software program that is called COW, and now that's been moved to a program that's elevated from COW to EDGE, still following the same procedures. This is an electronic software version, and it's available to our customers, and we can provide you with that training if you're interested. If that is the case, please reach out to your DSS representative, and we can set you up with an online training class for the EDGE program. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. We will get started with the high-level overview of the Curries Price Book. At the beginning of the price book, you'll have a lot of good information in the price book. It gets into the warranty, our terms, different other types of general information. We also have sections in the beginning of the price book as far as weights. So you are looking at all the different types of doors that we have, all of the different types of frames. It has charts of all of the different types of weights, some of our different programs that we have available. So all of those items are listed in the very front of the price book. What we want to look at today is an overview of how the actual price book is laid out. And of course, we know with doing this via Zoom, we won't be able to go through any pricing exercises or anything like that. But we wanted you to get a feel for how this price book is laid out, because it does have four or five different sections to it. So we want to review that. So if you look at this page here, it shows you the 707 polystyrene core base price door. You'll see the chart to the left. It shows your width and your height. So you go from 6'8" all the way up to 10-foot tall doors. You'll see these doors available in 20, 18, 16, and 14 gauge. Take note of the 20 gauge. You will see at the very bottom of the chart some of those sizes. Anything over 8.0 and 20 gauge is not available. The other item that you want to be aware of when you're looking at the price pages is any notes or comments that might be listed on that page. For instance, you'll look at the bottom of the chart here and it talks about oversized door options. So always be aware of various notes that are on these different price pages. And with this price book, it's laid out so we try to make it as easy as possible to do your more common pricing or more prices that you use more often. So you'll have your chart, and then you'll have beginning of your hardware options. So on the first there to the right of the chart, it will show you what items are classified as standard, that's included in the base price of the door. You'll go down and then it'll start talking about your edge bevels, which are available, which ones we charge for, which ones are no charge. You get into your galvanized and galvanized. steel, which is your galvanized is your A60 material. Your galvanized material is your G90 rather. So it goes through all of these. These are all added to the base price of your door. Then we have a continuation of some additional hardware preps. Again, we try to put in the most common hardware preps that you will use day in and day out. We look at Astricles, top caps. You get into your hinge preps there. You also go to the next side of this page 5 and you get into your various types of lock preps and louvers. Again, these are going to be some of your more common adders that we have. With those doors and that chart and those pages we showed, that is really the layout of all of our doors throughout the price book. What we want to now look at is the layout that's most common in all of our frames. So when we get into our M series, which is our masonry standard frame, 16 gauge, shows you up there, it's KD material. You'll look at the chart and you have your width and your height. We start with the 5 3/4 jam depth frame. That is the most common jam depth that you see day in and day out on projects, on customers walk-in, ordering. And then we start with 3-inch all the way up to 14-inch jam depth that you can price. This is just a small section of the price page. Below this, under doubles, then you have component parts. So you are able to price header, hinge, or strike jam separately. You'll notice that this goes up to a 14-inch jam depth frame. Curries has the capabilities to make a frame with up to 26-inch. Anything over 14-inch will need to be priced from the factory. So you have the ability to price all the way up to a 14-inch right out of the price book. Along with the frame chart, you also have some general information on your frames. So it gives you the single rabbet case openings, your double and equal rabbet material, talks about your face capabilities there, and then it goes into way at the bottom there, you'll see, and I apologize, some of it's a little cut off, but your anchors, foot clips, or some people call them base anchors, those are welded in at the base of all of our masonry frames. Those are included in the price of your frame. Then you have loose anchors that are included in these price. If, however, you need welded in type of anchors, those are additional charge, and we'll be showing you where you can find those adders in the price book. Along with the frame chart, you have on the next page some of your more common hardware add-ons. We get into double egress frames that are listed to the left, your 4-inch face headers on block walls, your galvanized and galvanized material. To the right of that, you have some additional hardware preps, closure reinforcements, flush bolt, hinge preps. So you'll see these various types of hardware preps that you can easily add to the base price of your frame. The next section in the Curries price book gets into the CCW or stick material. It goes through and it lists out your 5 3/4 material, the various face dimensions that are available there. You'll see also the nice thing is at the very top of the chart, you'll see the configurations or the profiles of these part numbers, and it's associated with what we call a CCW number, which is listed to the left of the chart. One thing with our price book, all of the prices in our price book are list price, and you will need to add your discount. The one nice thing also that Curries has in their price book is the per foot pricing for sight light, bar lights, different configurations of frame material. So you'll see your different types of profiles at the top. And then below, we give you a per foot estimate, depending on if it's a 2-inch face section open, or if you're looking at 4-inch face material, mullions, whether it's 2 or 4-inch face, and glass stops, and there's additional information at the bottom of the page. As you look at this, you'll see your jam depths that run across the top. Also, again, we always start with the 5 3/4 because that is your most popular jam depth, and then we get into the various other jam depths listed there. We have the CRS is your cold rolled steel. The RK is going to be your galvanized A60 material. You have also, which is really nice in the Curry's price book, is pricing examples for you, the per foot pricing, where you can go in and instead of trying to figure out, oh, I've got this 10-foot piece of stick and I got this many feet in here and trying to calculate that, you can do the per foot and don't have to worry about drop off and things like that. So they give you some pricing examples in their price book. And then also we have the various types of welds that are in the price book. So if you're looking at your corner welds, your T or your cross sections, this gives you all of those different types of adders, along with, you'll notice also as on these charts, you have your corner factory weld discount and the factory material discount. So you want to be aware that you're picking up the material and the actual weld itself. So you want to be aware of that. The next section that is in the Curry's price book is your non-standard or special hardware preps. This will have your door list price adders and your frame list price adders. So be aware that they put them on both of these adders on the same page. You also notice that you'll have your code hardware code numbers on here, which is really nice because if you happen to be looking at acknowledgement and you are looking at this particular door frame and it has a hardware code listed and you're not really sure about it, there's two places you can find that code. You can look in your price book. So if you were looking at this first on the flush bolt prep and you weren't sure what an H1 was or an FB, you can see a description of it, you can see a picture of it, you can see what the price is on your door or frame. You can also look on, we have some PDF charts that we are going to walk through here after the price book that also gives you some codes on more of the standard hardware preps that we use. So you'll see here also you've got flush pulls, the various hinge preps. And again, this is a continuation of additional hardware preps from the previous pages. The next section you'll see in the price book is what we call our engineered door section. So this is going to get into more detailed, more complicated hardware preps that you may come across. So those will be listed, and we have these sections divided by doors and frames. So you'll see just an example here on the engineered door. And then we have the section for the frames. And you'll see here on the engineered frames, we get into hospital stops. You'll see some there. We got some various different types of labeling. And there's quite a few pages of all the different types of hardware preps you may run across on frames. And again, these are going to be your more complicated preps that you'll find. So make sure that you're looking either in your previous pages or come back to your engineered section on these various types of hardware preps. The other part of the price book, another section we have behind the engineered frame section is what we call our door and frame parts. We have it listed by door parts and by frame parts. Here you're going to find material, parts and pieces that you may need. On the doors you may need fillers, any type of reinforcements, things like that. You will be able to find in these sections here. And you'll see on the frame parts, you have different types of parts, whether it's stainless steel spats or spreader bars and things like that. So you'll be able to order these parts and pieces from these sections, whether it's your door parts or your frame parts. The other nice thing about it is you'll see here as an example, it also, along with telling you the part number, the list price, but it also then gives you a description and a picture of that particular part. And the last two sections of your price book will have your specialty products. That's going to include, but not limited to stainless, high STC, blast, bullet, lead line products, watertight, flood doors, and so forth. So you'll see those various types of products in the specialty section. And then in your windstorm, you'll have your windstorm material, types of doors and frames, along with your FEMA for tornadoes, for hurricanes. All of those items are listed in the windstorm section. The other thing with windstorm and specialty I just want to touch on is that on the specialty, we have a team of people that work with specialty day in and day out. They are what I call the experts on specialty. Please utilize that team for your specialty needs. Windstorm, we have people at the factory that deal with these products day in and day out. So please rely on them for their expertise. If you get into where you're looking at prices or you want to have get a little bit more technical information about these products, please reach out to them. And with that said, Pat, are there any questions or anyone have questions on the pricing layout of the Curries price book?
Hold on a second, Rose. I'm sorry.
No worries.
No, at this particular time, we have no questions.
All right.
If you have any questions, let us know. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you. So what we're going to get into next is, I'm hoping can everyone see my screen here? Okay.
Hey, Rose, we're
Yeah.
seeing a PowerPoint presentation right now that is slide 15.
Okay, hang on a sec here. I apologize, and again, trying to bear with me. Okay, can you see?
There it is.
All right, sorry about that. So the next section here is what we're going to get into is the order writing. And again, as Pat had mentioned, we have Edge, we have Cow, and which now the next generation is our Edge program. Very powerful tool for order writing. What we wanted to show you in this session is just a brief overview of some of the PDFs that we have available for quick writing if needed. So we have our order sheet that is listed here. You'll see that the tabs across the top gets into your series of doors, the different types of cores, and you'll see numbers associated with it. What I'm going to show you next are the hardware codes associated with those various sections or those different spaces there. And again, this is for a reference, for a quick check. All of our codes, hardware codes, are listed in Edge. If you have the opportunity, please get in touch with your local DSS to get set up to do a webinar to kind of learn a little bit more about that. But it is a great tool to use as far as ordering. So with that said, this is our standard, what I call our cheat sheet for our door codes. It's a quick reference guide that you can use. So as you look at this, you will see series, which is your box number 2. So it will list out your various types of doors. Your styrene core 707, it gets into your still stiffen, temporized, and so on. So that is the code that you will put in for your series of door. You get into the edges of the door. So your exposed seam, you would list in your S code. If you wanted that edge filled, spot welded and filled, you would list in N. If you wanted it to have a continuously welded edge and then filled or become seamless, it would be the T weld that you would put in for your edge. The various gauges that are listed there. And then we get into your steel types. So again, if you were, and it says on here, if you want it cold rolled or CRS, you can leave blank. If you needed this material to be A60, which is your galvan, and it should say galvanized material. The galvanized is your G90, and you'll see it listed there, but the A60 material will be listed as RK. And as we go through this, again, this is going to be great reference for you if you are reviewing your acknowledgement, packing slip, or invoice, and are not quite sure what that hardware code is. This is a way to quickly check that. And then this as the item 6 is your door type chart. And I want to show you the face chart here, which goes in and it shows you the various types of face designs that we have. And along with that, which is really great, it also gives you the hardware code for that face type. We get into your width and to your height, which are, your nominal sizes, your door thickness, your handing is listed there for item 12. We get into other manufacturer's location. In the manufacturing world, all of us, as far as hollow metal manufacturers, we know the competition's hinge and lock location, which you can list here by the code. If, however, you have a location that is not a manufacturer standard, you will need to send that in with a drawing detail so that we are preparing your door for the correct location. You get into your various hinge codes that are listed here for item number 15, and you'll see that we have a variety of the various types of codes that we have listed. For your standard one, for 4.5, whether you want it for standard weight, 0.134, or heavyweight 180, would be your U453. For 3, for a pair and a half of heavy or standard weight 4.5-inch hinge. As you look through this, you will see that on the 5-inch and anything other than the 4.5 standard or heavyweight, we do have separate codes for those. And again, you'll see all the various types of codes for hinges that we have available. The one thing we didn't talk about is you'll see the asterisk at the bottom here. Any hardware code or description rather that has an asterisk by it, we will need additional information from you, whether that's a location, whether that's a model number or a template. We're going to need more than just that hardware code to engineer the product. Then we also have for item or box 16, we get into your opening for single paired openings. You get into your various deadlock preps. Item 18 is your lock strike codes. Again, anything with an asterisk, we will need additional information, location, template, whatever. But you'll see the various code for the different preps. And again, very good way to get to know and understand our hardware codes. EXA devices, you'll see listed there, whether it's rim, surface vertical rods, or if we're just doing internal reinforcements, or we're going to prep for internal reinforcements and per the template with the cylinder hole. All of these different types of codes are listed here. Deadlock preps, your different various types of strikes are listed here also for box number 18. Then we get a continuation of box number 18 for different types of lock and strike codes. You get into hardware information for 19, 20, and 21. Really, these spaces are going to be any additional functions, or if you have a drawing that you want to also send in, you can note that. Different types of mullions for code for space number 22. 23 gets into your closure holders. With Curries, you do need to specify if you want a standard closure reinforcement in the door. That does not come standard, so you will, or include it in the base price of the door, so you will need to specify that, in the code for that, as you see, is CL. We also get into Astricles, the various types of Astricles listed there, whether they're flat, if they're tack welded or screwed or loose. And then the last page of the door section, a continuation of Astricles, and then we have the various types of top caps. So if you've got doors that need some sort of flush top, in addition to the inverted channel that we supply as standard, you'll see the various codes here, the description, whether they're screwed in, they're welded in. We also can fill in the top or seal up the top of the doors on those top caps. So again, all of these different types of codes are listed here for you. Any questions on the door series before we, or the door code chart before we jump over to the frame charts? And again, if something pops up in your mind, please chat, and then Pat is monitoring that and we can go back to it. One other thing I do want to show you as far as sheets that we have available with different codes is our labeled code chart. This gets into UL and Warnock labeling, gives you the codes for these various types of labels that we have available for your doors and for your frames. So this is another resource that you can use. The other type of resource, another resource that we have, which is really useful, I use this often, is if you're looking at a project or you have some information in front of you and it's calling out for your level and model numbers, and you're like, I have no idea what Curry's door should be used. This is a really good tool to have at your disposal to use as a quick reference on the various types of doors depending on their level and their model. You'll see the various series here. The gauges are available also. So again, another tool that you have access to. So with that said, we're going to move over to the frame information. And as you see here, the form itself looks very similar to the door. All of the information now that you'll be writing in, of course, will be related to your frames. And we'll walk through some of the more common hardware codes for your frames. Here you will see the beginning in the top left. Starts it with your different types of frame descriptions. If you were ordering a 3-sided frame, you would list in 3F, and you'll see there again some of the different types of parts and pieces that are available and with the codes there. Your CCW material, this is going to be your stick material. Again, getting into whether it's mullion pieces or your open section, you'll have the different types of codes listed there. Box number 4 is where you would, and I apologize, you have your different types of ratings there, which I showed you the label code chart that you can also pull from if your material is fire rated. Also, you have your different types of profiles here, your frame profiles. Your M, which is going to be your standard masonry type of frame profile. Your MK is going to be a masonry cased opening, and so on. Your C frame is going to be your drywall, interior drywall frame. You'll see there with compression anchors or plumb anchors. Again, below that, also we have some additional hardware codes for the various types of frames, including thermal break, double egress, and so on. And again, additional information, additional codes can be found in Edge also. We get into item 5, which will be your gauges that are available and the codes associated with that. Item 6 will be your steel type. Again, if it's cold rolled or CRS, cold rolled steel material, you can leave that blank. Again, galvanized and galvanized material. We also have SS for stainless steel material, if that's the product you're needing. Construction of the corners of the frames. Here it gets into whether they're knocked down, they are going to be just face welded. We need to saw miter and then full weld the frame. We have an actual frame construction chart here as a quick reference for you. So you'll see here on the frame construction chart the various corner weld details, whether it's on 3-sided frame, whether it's on your side light units where you're doing T or anything else like that. So you'll have these different types of welds here as a resource. Handing, which you would put in box number 8. Active leaf, that's where you would put if you wanted us to put in or prep that frame header for a flush bolt prep. So you give us the active side. Of course, we put the flush bolt prep in the inactive side. Your various types of anchors are listed here in box number 10. You'll see your welded in that are listed first, and then your loose anchors that are listed below that. Item 11 and 12 is where you're going to put your frame width listing, your double openings for box 13. You can tell us that, yes, this is a double opening. that really comes into play a lot. You know, if you have a 6-0 opening, we know most like that is going to be a double opening. Your 4-foot openings, though, you need to be aware and make sure that you're using it for single or double opening. Box 14 is where you would tell us if you require 4-inch face header on that frame, your jam height. Other manufacturer locations, as we stated on the door, if they're one of these manufacturers, you can just use the code unless it is a special type of special locations, and then we will need a drawing accompanying the order. The thickness of your door, even though this is frames, we do need to know the thickness of the door in order to prep the rabbet, either the wider side or the smaller side, depending on the thickness of your door. Item 19 will list all of your various types of hinge preps that we have available for our frames. And again, additional ones will be listed in Edge. And be aware of the Astricle, as it says, asterisk. As it says, they're advised manufacturer, model number, and special instructions. So anything with an asterisk, we need additional information. You'll see box 20 listed will be your various types of lock or strike preps. The standard one, which is your 4 7/8 lip strike, will be the E1, and then you'll see all the various types of additional strike preps that we have available, whether they're for a lock or for the EXA devices. You'll see those listed there. And then a continuation on the second page of some of the hardware codes will be, you'll see here for Dutch door frames, item 22, your head preps, whether you're putting a closure reinforcement in there, if you're wanting a full sleeve, if you have a paired opening head and you require, you're going to be using surface vertical rods, we'll do the prep, the reinforcement and the soffit of the frame. Any of these various types of preps, and again, please be aware of the asterisk with those descriptions. We will need additional information. And then silencers, if they're required in your frames. We also have item 25 or box 25 where you can list the various types of frame elevations. And again, what you can do is say see elevation 1, which is attached, and attach that to your order. The one thing that's really nice with the Edge, and as Pat said, it's a very useful, powerful tool, is that here, if you do it by hand and then you have an elevation, you will need to let us know, and then you need to make sure, and don't forget that you attach your drawing to the email when you send this order in. With Edge, as you're listing and you're on that line of that frame, and if you have various types of hardware codes, you can put those in that same line or description of your frame, because it will stack the various codes. And then also, if you have a drawing, instead of worrying about or thinking, oh, make sure, did I in fact attach that to that email, you can attach it right into the order as you're typing that material up, and it will attach your drawing right there. So you don't have to worry about, did I attach or did I send it? It will be attached in the order itself. So those are just a couple things that are really great about the Edge program that I do suggest you take advantage of. Having your DSS to set up some sort of, to set up a webinar to kind of get a better overview of Edge. But this is what we wanted just to show you, just high level of some of the PDFs that we have available for you. So with that said, Pat, is there any additional information or that you would like to add to either the order writing or to the pricing, or if there are any questions?
I have no questions at this time. However, Rose is showing you this PDF copy that she's working through, which was such a valuable tool. And we have made sure that your local DSS representative has these on hand. So if you're interested in them, please reach out to your rep and they'll get you taken care of on it. If not, we'll make sure they get more copies. At the same time, if you're interested, we also have on a weekly basis mailings that go out with the lead time schedule, and then periodically, or at least on a monthly, an update of products from Curries. and those mailings come out directly to you on email. If you want those, please make, again, a request to your DSS representative, and they'll be able to help you with that. Make sure that you're set up to get that on our automatic email list. And then the last but not least, the EDGE training. Very valuable tool. What we showed here today was just a pen and paper version of that. However, the EDGE takes it to a whole new level for you. It's available to you. It's a cloud-based software. And if you're interested, we can set you up with an online training class for that.
All right, great. Thank you, Pat. And again, thank you, each one of you, for taking some time out of your schedule to look at this information and review this. This will be available in 24 hours online. You will get a email from me with the link. If you didn't get a chance to see the link when we first started with the session, that will be available to you within 24 hours to review any of this information. With that said, again, thank you so much. All of you, please stay safe out there and take care. Have a great day.